Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of a great millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. And through the Spirit, the Spirit had me watch the first Purge last night, which I believe it came out in back in 2018, which I encourage those who haven't seen it already to watch all the Purge movies. They even have some couple of seasons, TV series. Definitely encouraged to watch those movies. But this Purge movie, the first Purge, which they're not really in chronological order, but the first Purge, this movie was supposed to be pretty much the initial start of the Purge, to set things off as far as the Purge, but it started out as a of course an experiment, and you see the thing about it is, because art imitates life, art imitates life, all right, because, and I've used this example before, even when it comes to some of the best hit records, right? Let's just say those love songs, some of the greatest hits where Jake is crying about a woman, which they end up being some of the best love songs, right? But usually those will be the type of songs that come from actual heartbreak. Jake get all bent out of shape over a woman, and what does he do? He puts it on the track, right? Because again, art imitates life, and how you feel, your thoughts, your intent, your intentions, you're gonna put it all out there. You're gonna put it out there, and them be some of the best songs, right? Them be some of the best songs. Because again, art imitates life, and I just say all that to say, because again, going back to this movie, the first Purge, Esau, all right, because people, they see these movies, and they just look at it, as great entertainment. But no, Esau, how he truly feels, all right, he puts it out there. You see, he puts it out there. And this first Purge movie, to me, was definitely, one of those things where, because when you watch the movie, all right, like I said, the whole beginning of the Purge, which started out being just an experiment, but Esau, he shows his true intentions, because when you watch the movie, you'll notice, basically, because we know, when it comes to the top elites, the top wicked elites, the international bankers, all right, how they really feel about everyone else, right? They look at everyone else as the goyim, right? The sheep or cattle, you see? And quite frankly, there's too many mouths that need to be fed. That's one of the things that Esau, he puts out there. There's an overpopulation, right? Overpopulation, everything's too crowded, and pretty much in the movie, they showed you how they pretty much, they want to get rid of those loose strings, so to say. They want to get rid of the I'm trying to think of a word. Pretty much the less desirables. You see, because there's too many mouths to feed, right? That's how these elites think. You know, there's too many mouths to feed. We're tired of taking care of the poor, the less needy. You know, so what better way? Which, you know, for one thing, when it comes to these top wicked elites, a part of the agenda, you know, when it comes to the Depop, all right, is, you know, hey, for people to off themselves, you know, to kill one another, take each other out. Because again, a part of the Depop, all right, less numbers, the more easy it is to control the population. So that's what the top wicked elites, that's what they want to do. Get rid of a lot of people. And one of the means, because they have many ways of doing so, but one of those means being by way of, hey, let them take each other out. You know, which goes back to this whole concept of you know, this purge. You know, the purge itself. You see, because again, Esau, he shows his true intent. He shows his true colors. You know, and you got to think, because even going back to these, you know, like these extremist groups. Let's just use the KKK for an example, right? You know, why a lot of those guys? Well, why all those guys? Why why do they wear the mask? You know, why do they wear the mask? And they even mentioned that in the you know, in this movie, people that wear the mask. Why do they got to wear the mask? Because they're ashamed, right? Well, what do they got to be ashamed about? Well, because for one, again, when it comes to these, when it comes to Esau in particular, all right, when it comes to Esau in particular, how they really feel, you know, now they play like they're for the people, right? I'm gonna get a quick one at Revelation. Revelation 13. And Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. All right, so a lamb, of course, is a creature that's docile. All right, you know, when you think about a lamb, you don't see no threat. There's no threat when you look at a lamb, right? But these two horns, all right, going into the two-party system, which that in itself shows you that the so-called United States is not so united, all right? Just the two parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, right? The red versus blue. Just that alone shows you that the so-called United States is not united. All right, but nevertheless, these two parties, all right, these two parties, which they appear as a lamb, right? They appear as if, you know, they speak on the behalf of the people, you know. But when you read on, it says they had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. You see, because you know, whether it comes to these governors, whatever, all right, mayors, whatever, they're all set up. All right, and this is what these nations, for one, are starting to find out over the years when it comes to these, and this is why we see uproars of the people, because of these diplomatically set up puppet leaders in these other nations. All right, like I said, these guys that are set up, they appear as if, you know, they're for the people. But like the scriptures say, war is in their heart. All right, war is in their heart. You see, But nevertheless, going back to the point that I was making with the example that I was using with the KKK, you know, why do they wear the mask? What are they ashamed of? What do they got to hide? Well, because, and this is no secret, you know, you can look this up, you know. Hell, you even have it to where a lot of these, you know, some of these, you know, people that were set up in these positions, these high positions, you know, some of them are in, you know, the owner of NBA teams and, you know, mayors and whatnot. And some of them were as bold to not even hide their face. They would show their face. But for the most part, a lot of these Edomites that came to these, you know, KKK meetings back in the day, and even today, still today, because this, you know, these things are still going on today. All right. But they put on the mask because when they take off the mask, where do they go? Right back to their elected offices. All right. They go right back to the town centers, you know, and put on this front like, hey, we got to give out these stimulus checks to the less poor, to the needy. You see, like I just read, they spake as a lamb, but Slaki, they, like I said, they said he had two horns like a lamb, right? But he spake as a dragon, because again, war is in our heart, all right? War is in our heart, deception. You see? So that's why they put those masks on, all right? Because a lot of these guys, man, they're the sheriffs, the chief of police, you know? And they showed you that in the movie, The First Purge, you know? Because that's how these Edomites, and that's why I entitled this with that I titled it, Art Imitates Life, because that's how these people, that's how they really feel. That's how they really feel. This is how they really feel. And hell, even going back to slavery, you know, you see the pictures up where you had the crowds of Edomites. A lot of those cats are still alive today, you know. And where do you think they're at? Like I said, the elected, so-called elected leaders, governors, politicians, you know, owner of NBA teams. Like I said, you know, a lot of those same Edomites that were back then hanging Jake, you know, the picnic, which we don't have to get into what that means, but you know, a lot of those Edomites and they're the descendants. You know, they're I'm not descendant, but their sons, grandsons, a lot of them are elected, so-called elected leaders today. All right. And this is how they really feel. You know, that's what this movie, man, The First Purge, that's what it depicted. All right, how they really feel, how Esau, how he really feels. Because, again, when you watch the movie, again, this was supposed to be a time of purging, right? And of course, you had those that were, you know, watching everything. They were sending their drones out, they had their cameras out, whatnot, and they were watching the shit. Because again, to show you how Esau really feels, you know, where did they start? They started in Jake neighborhoods, the projects, and things of that nature. You know? So, when they weren't getting the results that they anticipated, because what was Jake doing? Like I said, they were watching. You know, they were watching. And what was Jake doing? Jake was partying and bullshitting. Jake was having parties during the time of purge. You know, so when they weren't getting the results that they expected, what did they do? They sent in mercenaries. All right, to really stir things up. You know, those mercenaries, they don't give a shit about anything or anyone as long as that money's right. They'll get the job done. You know, so in the movie, you know, you've seen that. You know, these supposed to be safe havens, right? Esau started coming through, started shooting shit up, started shooting Jake up, man. Started rolling through the Jake neighborhoods, you know. You see, man. Like I said, I don't want to spoil the movie too much, so definitely check it out. The First Purge, check it out. You know, because this is how these Edomites, and I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about the regular average Edomite. All right, this is how they really feel. They haven't changed. And one thing that the head brother of the camp always says, the brother Naharia, he says all the time, you know, hey, we haven't seen a real desperate Edomite in a long time. We haven't seen a real desperate Edomite in a minute. You know? And it's cool because that particular movie, it focused on mainly the Southern Kingdom. And then I believe the last, which, through the Spirit, I might watch it tonight. But the last Purge that came out, I don't remember the name, there's so many of them. But the last Purge that just came out, it was focused mainly on the Northern Kingdom, which shows you, man, Esau, he knows what's up, man. He knows what the deal is. You know, he knows what the deal is. You know, but here it is. All right. Like I said, Esau and his narratives, you know, and when you go back to, because that's one thing about Esau, his narrative. All right. That's one of his forms of witchcraft, sorcery. If you watch the Tucker Carlson and Putin interview, Putin even said that, you know, how can we go back and forth with Putin basically admitted, listen, we can't win the propaganda war when it comes to the West. You know, we can't win the propaganda war, and he's absolutely right, because that's one of Esau's forms of witchcraft, is sorcery. You see, but nevertheless, man, here it is. You have this immigrant crisis. You know, you got a lot of those hardcore drug dealer, you know, cartels coming over here, teaming up, getting into shootout with the sheriffs. You know, we see a piece of what's going on. You know, we see a piece of what's going on. How do you think that's going to make these Edomites feel? You see? How do you think that's going to make these Edomites feel, man? Their kingdom is losing. And like the scripture say, hey, if this was my kingdom, my servants will fight for it. Well, this is not our kingdom. This is Esau's kingdom. So, rightfully so, hey, he's going to fight for his kingdom. Rightfully so. You know? And hey, let him. You know? Let him fight for his kingdom. You know, but like bro be saying, man, we haven't seen a real hungry Edomite in a minute. We're about to. All right? Because I'm going to end it off with this in Ezekiel 21. Ezekiel 21 and verse 8. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord, say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. So you see, man, hey, man, because Esau, Salakia, Yahweh Shema Shah is getting ready to let this pit bull off the leash. You know, he's getting ready to let this pit bull off the leash. Because it's all a matter of timing. It's a matter of the perfect crisis, the perfect event. Because when all hell finally breaks loose, who do you think these Edomites are going to take their frustrations out on? Hell, going back to the you know, 2020, 2021, what was the narrative that they were pushing? And I quote, blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. All right. They were blaming Jake at one point for not taking that serpent juice. Because what was everyone crying out for? For things to get back to quote unquote normal. And what was the narrative that they were pushing at that time? Well, listen, we can't get back to normal because, hey, y'all don't want to take the serpent juice. You know? And not only that, like I said, I quote, blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, unquote. All right, are the ones that are more vulnerable. Jake are the ones that are more susceptible to catching this, this boogeyman. So, like I was making the point with his Esau, his narratives, man. But with all that being said, with everything that's going on, You know, people coming through them borders, man. And of course, they're going to put Jake out there, you know, because it's all nations coming through that border. It's not just Jake, but with everything that's going on, you know, hey, listen, Esau, it's just a matter of timing. Who do you think he's going to take his frustrations out on, man? You know, who do you think he's going to take his frustrations out on? Again, well, not again, but in verse 10, it says, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And they have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. So you see, man, Esau, hey, he's getting ready. You know, he's getting ready. Like I said, the Lord is getting ready to let this pit bull off the leash, man, because, again, this is how he really feels, man. This is how he really feels. Like I said, you know, they put these things in the movies and whatnot, and people just look at it for great entertainment. No, art imitates life. Art imitates life. You see? But, hey, it tells you in the Apocrypha, man, how in the end he shall declare his wickedness. Esau, he's gonna show his true horns. He's gonna show his true colors. He's gonna show you to be the devil that he is, man. He ain't gonna hide it. It's gonna get to a point he's not gonna hide it. You know, the mask gonna come off. You know, the mask gonna come off, man. You know. So this is how these devils feel, man. Just because, you know, it might give you a raise and the job or whatever, you know, might buy you some, you know, whatever, man. You know, Jake think that Esau's changed. No, man, this devil ain't changed. You know, he's been suppressed, but he ain't changed. But that shit's about to come out. The true colors is about to come out. You know. But Lord, one of this was edifying. All praises to you, Yahweh Shalom Shah. Shalom to you, hopefully love.